Let me turn that up. Hi, and welcome to Mrs. PM Reads. Can you hear that a little better now? We are continuing in our story, Zoo, by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge. We will be in book 4, chapter 74. I think there's 99 chapters, so we're coming close to the end. At this point in our last video, Oz was again taken to by helicopter, supposedly to the White House. I'm not sure that he met the president just yet, but he did get a call from Dr. Valerie that said it appears that not only has the environment altered pheromones for animals, but also whatever scent humans give off, the animals don't like it. So that's kind of where we left things off. So let's see, chapter 74. With these new and even more troubling implications playing a polka in my head, I exited the plane and was guided by a couple of soldiers toward a shiny black and chrome government motorcade thrumming by the hangar. If our innate human odor was helping to cause this chaos, how were we supposed to fix that? How could we humans have changed what we smell like on a molecular level? How could it have happened so quickly, and why? I approached the vehicles, a marked DC police car and a black Suburban and another military Humvee. A stocky Marine in full camo shook my hand. He was Hispanic, and his spiky high and tight made him look like he was wearing a hedgehog as a marmaluke. Okay. Mr. Oz, he said with a slightly cockeyed grin, you're that animal scientist guy, right? I saw you on Oprah, man. Welcome to the war zone, formerly known as Washington, D.C. I'm Sergeant Alvarez, but call me Mark. Do you have any bags or some beakers or something I can grab for you? No beakers this time, I said distractedly as he opened the door of the SUV for me. So what are you down here for? He said, getting behind the wheel. Let me guess. Tour the cherry trees? A Nats game? We were rolling now, and I was trying to think. I wish he'd shut up. Actually, I'm starting up a brand new drug testing program for Marine Corps personnel, I said. In fact, when we get to the White House, I'm going to need a urine sample. A long, silent minute dragged past. That was a joke, I said. Sorry, I have a lot on my mind. No problemo, Doc. I talk too much. Ask anyone, Alvarez said. You sit there and solve the disaster. I'll just button my lip and drive. This is me. Shutting up. Zip. A few minutes later, we were near the Pentagon, approaching I-395 ramp before the bridge, when I heard what at first I thought were honking geese. Then, a mass of animals burst from the roadside trees. Body after furry body spilled out from between the tree trunks. Dogs, Dutch shepherds, caramel-colored mastiffs, foxhounds, bloodhounds, greyhounds, mutts of every conceivable coat and color and size. The dogs snarled and barked. A din of barking. Fur flew, spit sprayed up from the horde in frothy flecks. Most of the animals were filthy, crazed looking. They looked sick, starved, haunted. Many of them had hides that were mottled with the same white fungus stuff I'd seen under Bryant Park. It was horrific. I felt sorry for them. The mass of dogs didn't so much as hesitate as it approached our motorcade. The charging herd spilled right out into the road like lemmings off a cliff, right under the lead patrol car's front wheels. Sergeant Alvarez came close to rear-ending the police car as it hit its brakes. The F are you blank blank doing? Sergeant Alvarez yelled into his hands-free headset at the driver of the cop car. Now's not the time to be braking for animals, cockwaffle. Go, go. I've not heard that word before. I assume it's an insult. There was a series of yelps and whines and then sickening thumps under the wheels as we ran over the dogs. Our car bucked and rocked over them like a rubbery dinghy in a storm at sea. We thought it was almost over when an Irish wolfhound that looked like Lon Chaney Jr. in heavy makeup hurled itself onto the hood. Sergeant Alvarez stomped on the gas and the monster sailed over the windshield and tumbled over the roof. I turned in time to see it get run over by the Humvee behind us. Damn thing. Wanted to eat us for breakfast, huh? Alvarez said, wiping sweat off his hedgehog. Oh, his hair, his head, I guess. You can take that urine sample from my pants now, Professor X. We glanced at each other for a beat, then exchanged a trickle of nervous laughter. Now I understand why the politicians are so concerned, I said. The Marine nodded as he took his .45 out of his holster and put it in the beverage holder. Typical Washington, right? He said. A problem ain't a problem until it happens in D.C. Chapter 75. D.C. looked deserted. We passed an Army checkpoint on the other side of the Potomac. There were dead dogs scattered pell-mell across the usually pristine National Mall. Floating in the reflecting pool. The water was cloudy and dark. I saw that there was a newly erected high electric fence around the White House as we approached it. At each corner of the complex, I noticed 4 Humvees kitted out, K-I-T-T-E-D, kitted out with what looked like satellite dishes attached to their roofs. What are those? I asked. ADS, Sergeant Alvarez said. Active Denial System. It's a kind of microwave transmitter that heats up your skin. Hurts like a MF. Supposed to be effective for crowd control. Fortunately, it works on man's best frenemy, too. We got in line behind 2 other convoys waiting beside the White House complex on East Executive Avenue. Even when it was our turn, we had to wait for 20 minutes while the operation of ID checking and rechecking was conducted by the Orwellian assembly of security agents at the gate. I spotted Mr. Leahy as a baby-faced Army officer was at last escorting me into the West Wing. At the end of a hallway, Leahy seemed locked in a heated argument with a staffer in front of a set of closed double doors. A lot of military types kept coming in and out of the boardroom behind them. A lot of metal flashed on jackets. The staffer shook his head at Leahy emphatically and departed as I stepped up. Something heavy duty is going on, Oz, Leahy said, buttonholing me by the secretary's desk. What's the problem? I said. They won't listen, silver-haired NSA officer said, more to himself than to me. I can't believe this. They won't even listen to me. Who won't listen? I said. Leahy tilted his head toward a nearby door. Step outside? On the White House colonnade, Leahy shook out a pack of Marlboros. I haven't smoked in 10 years, he said. He popped a match to life and held it to the tip of his cigarette. I wanted to shake him by the lapels. You wanted me here. Now I'm here. What's the problem? He didn't answer. He took another drag, held the smoke in for a beat, and leisurely exhaled it from his nose in twin gray streamers of smoke. Back in New York, my family was in jeopardy while this jackass pulled my chain. As Leahy put the cigarette to his lips again, I smacked it out of his hand. Stop effing around with me, I said. What is, there's periods after each word, what is the problem? The military managed to convince the president that this thing can be taken care of with conventional weapons. They have satellite imagery of some animal nesting sites, and they want to use napalm on them. Imagine. They think they can bomb all the critters to kingdom come. They don't want to listen to reason anymore, Oz. They just want to trot out their toys. He shook out another cigarette. To a hammer, everything is a nail, he said, and lit the cigarette. But that's nuts, Leahy. Isn't President Patterson known for being a moderate, a pragmatist, there we go. A pragmatist, Mrs. Reasonable? Leahy looked around the colonnade. We're probably bugged. I should know, shouldn't I? But screw it. Who's around to listen? This is top secret, Oz. Mum's the word. Understand? The president's daughter is dead. Huh? I did a double take. What? I said. Allie? Leahy nodded. It's being kept out of the press for now. The way I heard it, she told the president that Dodger had run away, but he hadn't. She'd hidden him in a crawl space above the family's quarters. That's where they found her. The dog had, well, you can guess the rest. Who found her? Secret Service. The president borrowed a gun from an agent and put the dog down herself. She's just not herself right now. She's signing everything the military puts in front of her. I said. Is right, Leahy said, is what they don't give about the fact that this is an environmental issue. They don't want to hear from any more scientists. They want blood, and they're going to get it. Chapter 76, MacDill Air Force Base, 4 miles southeast of Tampa, Florida. Air Traffic Control Officer Lieutenant Frank White stirs milk into the first coffee of his shift with studied nonchalance as he steps onto the main floor of the control tower. As he crosses the room to his station, the lanky 30-year-old is thinking ruefully about the fishing trip he was planning on taking this weekend before the airwaves became a network of doomsday theories. He's focusing on trying to keep his eyeballs from rolling out of their sockets. MacDill is a backwater air refueling base, and his job is usually a cakewalk. The hardest part is trying to keep 23-year-old recruits with 30 hours of flight time behind their wet ears from coming in too hot and turning the tarmac into a pizza oven. White blinks down at runway 1, where, for some reason, 24 F-16 Falcons are powering up along the taxiway. He gawks as a black B-2 stealth bomber touches down on runway 2. This is no effing joke, he mumbles as he stands still, absent-mindedly stirring his coffee. All the fighters are bristling with underwing ordnance. One of the aircraft maintenance engineers in the locker room swore that they are all incendiary in nature, powdered aluminum thermite bombs, magnesium, white phosphorus. Said he couldn't be certain, but the B-2s looked like they were carrying thermobaric daisy cutters. Shit, White thinks. They could be GD nukes for all he GD knows. The encrypted chain of command phone by his radar station rings 20 minutes later. He's been drinking the coffee and is almost feeling half conscious now. The orders he receives from the phone are choppy and quick, with terse military precision. They seem to have not the slightest whiff of the BS in them. This is NORAD Command at Cheyenne. Who am I speaking with? Lieutenant Frank White. Listen up, White. I don't have all the coordinates in front of me, but you are to clear all civilian aircraft south of Tampa and north of the Keys. Clear the deck up to a ceiling of 85,000 feet. White looks at his shadowy reflection in the control tower glass and squints for a moment, picturing the area in his mind. Isn't that Everglades National Park? Didn't hear the last transmission, son? What did you just say? Oh shit, Lieutenant White thought. What is this? What's going on? I said, of course, sir. South of Tampa and north of the Keys. In a moment, he is at one of the radar stations working on carrying out the orders. The two-way crackles in his earpiece. Tower, this is 253. Our pre-flight is complete. Are we clear for takeoff? White sits up. 253 is the call sign for one of the B-2s. Yes, 253, you are clear on runway 1. Clear for what? I don't know, Lieutenant White thinks, slurping the dregs of his coffee as the massive aircraft begins to roll onto the airstrip. And we're going to stop there. This is getting interesting. I wonder what they're planning for the Florida Everglades. All right, you guys. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you come back so we can find out what's going on. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.